Hello, dear friend, and welcome to today's Sunday reflection, the 22nd Sunday of the year. The theme is Seduced by Christ.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. At that time, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things from the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and on the third day be raised. And Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, God forbid, Lord, this shall never happen to you. But he turned and said to Peter, Get behind me, Satan. You are a hindrance to me, for you are not on the side of God, but of men. Then Jesus told his disciples, If any man would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his life? Or what shall a man give in return for his life? For the Son of Man is to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will repay every man for what he has done. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Jesus does not want anybody to follow him for the wrong reasons. So he tells his disciples he is going up to Jerusalem, not to take power, but to give his life. The rabbis thought that the Messiah would never die and would begin an era of happiness without end for the just. Peter decides to draw Jesus aside and to tell him to stick to the teaching of the rabbis on the matter. What the apostle proposes is not according to God's plan. Peter thinks according to human logic when he thinks of overpowering enemies as a way of establishing the kingdom. He becomes an obstacle. This first part of the gospel invites us to think over our way of being Christians. Are we really convinced that the only way to be a disciple of Jesus is to give up our lives? Do we ever wonder if our thinking is pleasing to God, or if it is inspired by the way everybody thinks? In the second part of the gospel, Jesus tells us the qualifications needed by those who want to follow him. We must choose the way of the cross, of self-sacrifice. If anyone wants to be a follower of mine, let him renounce himself and take up his cross. Christians cannot act in their own interests or seek only what pleases them. They must always be aware of the needs of their brothers and sisters. The second condition means to follow the same path Jesus did, to live his ideals and accept persecution in order to remain faithful to the gospel. We are given reasons why these conditions are necessary. Firstly, those who sacrifice them do not in fact lose them, they find them. Secondly, this life is short, fragile, and unwarranted. It is pointless to try to hang on to it as if it were everything. Thirdly, the final reward. Can we take anything with us at the end of our lives? No. The only thing left to us will be the love we were able to give. Let us pray. God of power and might, giver of every good gift, put into our hearts the love of your name, so that by deepening our sense of reverence, you may nurture in us what is good, and by your watchful care, keep safe what you have nurtured. Amen.